Well, darling, there's only one God. Darling, there's only.
Welcome to the Dirty Bag Podcast. I'm your host, Cookie. And once again, thank you all for joining me. You could be anywhere listening to anybody, but you are here with me. As a reminder, if you are an audio subscriber, we do have the YouTube where you can come see me slay, see me eat, or see me feel whatever mood I'm in for the day, because I'm in the 40s era where I do what the hell I want to do. Sometimes it's giving Naomi Campbell. Sometimes it's giving losing Isaiah. Holly Berry. I don't know. But speaking of looking like a drug addict, so I got to tell y'all what I did recently. So at the close of the FX series Snowfall, and I know y'all been watching that, I decided to be nosy. So everybody is talking about this series and about just how they were shocked at the ending, right? So all I'm seeing is snippets of an alcoholic who just happens to be played by Damson Idris. You know what? Chloe was getting the back shots in Swarm. So let me not get the characters mixed up. But real life, you know what, Lori, I get it. That man is talented. I had not followed any of Damson's work before that. Just kind of the snippets of him really just admiring our fave and kind of getting shaded by our fave, Denzel. But I didn't know a whole lot about his work. So I wanted to see what it was all about. This boy can play a role. So basically, Snowfall is really an inside look at the crack era in the 80s, right? Now, let me start by saying I really don't watch films like that anymore. Things with violence towards our people are putting us at the disadvantage or just showing us impoverished. It doesn't do anything for my spirit anymore. I know some of my favorite movies are some of our faves as well that probably had violence and all of that juice. Menace to Society. These are some of my childhood faves. But as I get older, I'm like, it's really difficult to watch it. I just don't take joy in those types of things. But again, everybody's giving hot takes about how they shouldn't have did him like that in the end. He turns into an alcoholic. How y'all gonna let the mans go out like that? If you were not directly impacted by the crack era in the 80s, just say that. Because to me, after I watched this, and I'm gonna tell y'all, I binge watched for a week. I spent 7 days, and this is what, benefits of working from home, sun up to sundown, watching all these seasons because I wanted to know, like, what is it about him that should have not had him ending up in that fate? I didn't know much about it. All I know is I used some of the audio. I thought the shit was funny. But I was curious because everybody seems so invested in this show. So the first thing I noticed is, okay, he's young, so young black boy, they're going to make all kinds of mistakes, y'all. You know this, especially when your parent is an addict. So apparently his dad was an alcoholic. So we learned that early. And I'm not going to give the whole breakdown on the show. Y'all can go ahead and watch it for yourselves. But for those that are already well-versed in this series, you're going to already know what I'm talking about, right? So young black boys from the age of 20, 23, with not a whole lot of guidance in the streets is raising you. Certain things come with that. So we get past that. Another thing I noticed real quick is he is the token black friend. So he kind of went to school in a certain area, decided that college wasn't for him or whatnot, but he has that one white friend. Now, I've talked about me being a part of the desegregation program in St. Louis and what my proximity to whiteness did for me as somebody that was very active in a lot of things and kind of the relationships I built as a result. It's very easy to become the token black friend that they want to do favors for them. So everybody talking about who was responsible for his downfall. It was his mama. It was his auntie. So all the women in his life did him wrong. And y'all quick for blaming black women for some shit, not looking at the main source. That boy's father was an alcoholic, meaning he was not there to guide him, to speak life into him, and to help, guide his path. But I'm going to let y'all make it on. We already know what time it is with shit, so let's move on. But being that token black friend and going to get this boy some more coke is literally what changed the trajectory of Franklin Saint's life. That's the character. All right. So people being shocked by the ending. I'm gonna speak from somebody that was born in North St. Louis. Okay. I came up I was a child during the crack era, but my memory is so vivid with a lot of things. I remember seeing what undercover cops look like in the streets. I remember a shootout, okay? And crack directly impacted my family. I've spoke about relatives, my mother's battle. So me watching Snowfall, I'm going to say it might have been a little bit triggering because some of the conversations and the relationships seemed very real. Like everybody, if you survived the crack era and you were around anybody within proximity to addiction or somebody that sold crack, I remember the neighborhood dope man was our next door neighbor. His name was Kenny. I loved Kenny. Kenny used to give us candy. He had a Jerry curl. He looked just like Saint's Uncle Jerome. So again, a lot of these characters in Snowfall it took me back to a certain place. So I could watch that movie play out personally. And I think that no matter how much we want a character to make it out on the other side, you have to be realistic about reaping what you sow. And when it has to do with drugs or anything like that, there's not a lot of people that come out and become Jay-Z. that's the exception, not the rule. But because of shows like that, I think they're important because it does give you an inside look to things that we judge. And people tend to have very harsh judgment about addicts. I don't. I loved one. I was in a romantic relationship with one. I was birthed by one. I mean, I wasn't a crack baby, but eventually down the road, she battled with addiction, okay? So I look at addiction a little bit different as somebody that can see the before and the after, as somebody that knows what some addicts look like when they're clean and when they own their P's and Q's, much like Wanda, the girlfriend of Saint's best friend, Leon. So I just kind of look at addiction a little bit differently. Now, what Snowfall also taught us, if you didn't get anything else out of that series, understand how genius Black people are and how a lot of us are just made entrepreneurs. Do you know what it takes to be a successful drug dealer and how many skills you have to balance? In order for you to be a successful drug dealer, you have to have time management skills. You have to be a leader. You have to be able to build a team. You have to be a mathematician. You have to be a negotiator. And on top of all of that, you have to be a soldier. You got to be ready to go to war behind yours. So when we add all those things together, number one, that is a recipe for disaster. And somebody carrying that type of weight, at some point, it makes sense why they would turn to any type of substance, whether it's drugs or alcohol. It's so much to carry, and that's so much money. And when we're talking about somebody in their early 20s, which is a lot of what was, in that crack era, taking on all that at such a young age, it's a recipe for disaster. So shout out to people that got out of the drug game and was somehow able to turn them skills into a legitimate profit. You are the real MVPs. Please don't drag me from my point of view on that. It's a lot. I feel like if you can sell drugs, be a boss, that is, you can be successful in anything. So there's that. But I also think it's important to note that all of us are one bad decision, one stressful month, stressful day away from doing something that can change the trajectory of our lives. For Saint, it was all his money being gone. His money being gone, his mom going to jail, folks dying left and right, him realizing that he cannot dig his way out of a situation like he was always able to. Took that first sip. Let's talk about his girlfriend, Mel. Beautiful girl, sweet girl, or she ended up being his ex-girlfriend, who happened to be the daughter of a cop. This girl got hooked on rock. She got hooked on rock from going to a party, flirting, and just happened to walk and look to her left and saw somebody getting high. It's so easy to get into situations you didn't plan. So when I see a lot of folks saying like, yeah, you shouldn't, well, that's their fault. Folks don't understand. You can go to happy hour and your friend can be like, girl, you got a stink attitude right now. You've been real stressed out. I'm gonna buy you a drink. and they decide, hey, this is going to be a good drink. It's going to get you relaxed. And throw something in there. Like, I don't know, the LSD in the chocolate fountain at his uncle and auntie's wedding. It takes nothing. It takes nothing. Well, I'm not going to say it takes nothing, but none of us are safe and immune from making one bad decision that can change our whole lives. And I could have been male once, not that young, but I'm going to tell y'all. So I had a crush on this dude, right? He was a church boy. And watching her scene when she first hit rock, I thought about what could have happened to me. So this cat came to the city that I was living in, and this was a church boy. So again, what I also learned from watching this series is that from that moment, it's like, girl, you done had some crazy traumatic issues with like church boys. We gonna talk about that later. Church boys and did a number on me, cuz. Wonder why I act real weird with church now. But whatever the case, he came to the city that I was living in, invited me to come hang out. He had some friends with him. So I went to the hotel that he was staying at. Y'all, it was girls doing lines of coke in the bathroom. I learned real quick that he had an issue with alcohol. And he sat there like it was no big deal. And he wasn't asking me if I wanted to try coke, but he was like, they in the bathroom. But it was almost open-ended. Like, they in the bathroom, but I mean, if you want to try some, you can go too. I didn't stay long. But I just look back at if I really liked him that much and I wanted to relax and fit in, what would have happened if I decided I wanted to go in the bathroom with these random girls and snort that powder? I might have a totally different life now off one decision. So again, I don't judge people. But I think it also gives you a look at how addiction starts. It can be recreational, or it could be you get so stressed out that you need a way out. You need something to escape your reality for 5 seconds. And some of y'all drink every day when y'all get off work. So don't act like you don't know. You might not be an alcoholic, or you might not be one yet, but you know you do what you got to do to take the edge off when life is too much. And let's not forget, we were all on lockdown for a couple of years almost. So some folks was really starting to lose their minds, and some folks are still dealing with the effects of COVID and being locked down and separated from their loved ones, especially people that were like hardcore keeping their distance. So yeah, Snowfall took me on a journey. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I'm up here binge watching Snowfall, and I'm doing it late at night. So I got through this series pretty fast. When I tell y'all any type of noise outside had me paranoid, like thinking somebody finna kick my door and coming after me. I ain't got no ops. I'm not pushing no weight. I'm not pushing nobody's weight. But watching this show just kind of had me on edge. Like, what's outside? The feds coming to get me. Only drugs I got in my crib is sugar. And not that kind. I'm just saying. So no, I felt like that series taught us so much. And also the genius of John Singleton. Rest in peace. But that man is an absolute genius. And one thing, and I don't know if they started this before or after his passing, but I was watching the behind the scenes, and some of the crew was talking about how they even set up a program. So they would do these Zoom calls on the weekends for any of the cast members or anybody that wanted to learn more about the craft and maybe wanted to venture into different areas. So really, it's a show, but they wanted to put people on. So one of the actors, the one that played Jerome, wanted to direct. So I guess they kind of, got him going, helped him out, and he ended up getting to direct an episode. And apparently it was super good. It was episode 8. So not only is it a great show, but it gave people within that crew the opportunity to expand their careers once everything is over. You don't hear about that all the time. I think it speaks volumes to who John Singleton was and him just inspiring everybody. And I'm pretty sure they picked up nuggets from him that'll help them throughout a lifetime. And I'm gonna be Samson. First of all, that man has been studying. He absolutely studies Denzel, and you could tell it was giving training day. And I thought about an interview that Lorenz Tate did recently about how he feels like in the entertainment industry, British black actors are seen as more valuable. And which you notice, you look around, there has been, I mean, we got Idris Elba, and then we got old boy that plays in All American, another one of my favorite shows. What I also read up on is that some of them in their country, they actually take like studying your craft, going to school for it very seriously. Hence, they have so much range. So my thing is, I'm here for all blackness. We all winning. But put in the work for your craft also. So somebody that ain't even from the States, don't take opportunities from you because they're more talented. Sorry. Them boys is good. And sometimes we have a lot of that. People feel entitled to certain roles but ain't putting in the work. Not saying that's always the case, but the British black actors that we've seen on the scene in the past few years have been doing a damn thing. Very talented. They deserve all their flowers. So, yeah, that was a lot. And for me to cram that all in over a week, first of all, I need a detox. Thinking about trapping and selling drugs, I need a detox. I felt like it gave me a trip back to my childhood. And again, if none of y'all were directly impacted by the crack era, just know that the way Franklin Saint's story ended, that's about right. Pride, greed, when you're the breadwinner in your family and it's by ill-gotten means, people might disagree at first, but eventually they come around, which his mom did. So that's just what it is, y'all. And Lord Jesus, speaking of snowfalling, can we talk real quick about y'all, segue, about y'all coming for Judy and DaBrat about their sperm donor and the comment made as to why they went with the option they did. Let me start by saying y'all real good for making jokes about how women pick bad baby daddies. Y'all the one that chooses them. But when somebody, and this situation isn't completely applicable because we got two queer women. But whatever the case, they picking the baby daddy. They need sperm. So they are doing their due diligence to pick the right person that's going to give their baby the right genetics. He just so happened to be white. Please don't drag me. Hold on. When you have health issues, which Judy does, you are trying to make sure whoever it is going to complement where you lack. So you want somebody with a clean bill of health. And what we also found out, and I've heard this before, is that black men, y'all don't go to the sperm banks and donate like that. Now, y'all donate your sperm to everything walking and then don't want to take care of what comes out. But as far as going to a sperm bank and helping somebody out that actually wants a baby and that has trouble, what's going on? So what we found out is that I want to say less than 5% of black men from the research actually donate. And then from that 5%, you still got to sift through. What did Favor say? Somebody went down to a sperm bank because they needed $10 for a pizza. Is that really whose sperm you want to use? Probably not. So obviously DaBrat and Judy got to go through a process. These are women of a certain caliber, so they don't want just anybody's sperm. And as it turns out, they started out like they were looking within the culture. But again, you got to sift through that less than 5% to get a good match. So the uproar comes in with them basically saying that, or DaBrat saying that the one black man out of 300, because it went from thousands to 300, so they'll let you know what they working with here. He looked like Jiminy Cricket. I'm sorry. Y'all done turned this into a whole anti-black thing. First of all, if it's just 1 out of 300, what the hell in that situation, what do you want them to do? Number one, unpopular opinion, but hidden truth. And our grandmas were the only ones that had the balls to say it. Everybody's kid ain't cute. I don't care how successful you are, how intelligent you are. That has nothing to do with physical genetics. Your kids are going to look how they look, and some people bump uglies in the results. Babies are a gift from God. They are a gift from God. There's nothing more precious than being able to give life. But we can also be honest about the fact that some of these kids come out looking like y'all, and some of y'all ain't that cute. What's wrong with being honest? So if somebody has the choice to go through a list to get the desired result in their journey to parenthood, Now, of course, let's just be clear. Genes jump around like hopscotch. They do. So a more attractive white man does not guarantee a beautiful child. Recessive genes, kids can go, they can pull genes from a great grandma. You don't really know what the child's gonna look like. And I can say that as somebody that has 100% black, high yellow, blue-eyed kid. Dad's eyes are gray. She got the blues from my auntie. They ain't even alive no more. You don't know what them genes gonna do. You don't. And for somebody like me, I can say I've been lucky. I tend to go for the more unfortunate looking men. I cannot say I've procreated with anything fine. So I'm volunteering myself as tribute in this conversation. But I absolutely, the same way I prayed for a healthy pregnancy, I prayed for a healthy child. I also was like, yo, God, I'm going to need you to do the thing because, woo, that ain't going to work. Call me problematic, but don't nobody want ugly babies. And we're not supposed to say things like that because there are people that struggle with fertility. Be glad that you can procreate, whatever. But it's the truth. So if you had the option to look at the person that you are going to, whose sperm you're going to use, you're not dealing with them at all. But you know what I'm saying? If folks want to go the best route for them with the resources they have available, with the options they have available to them, what's the problem? Like, Negroes be ugly sometimes, and we can say that and it not be reduced to anti-blackness. Everybody ain't fine, y'all. Some days I'm a whole booger wolf, and I can admit that. Took my daughter about 8 weeks to finish cooking. Like, sometimes kids is funny looking. So get off people's back about their decisions, especially when they're considering everything health. Half of y'all don't even be wanting to go to the clinic to get that gonorrhea that you know good and damn well you got to get treated. Some of y'all probably don't even know what a my chart is. But y'all want to talk about what options are available to somebody at a sperm bank. Really? Okay. Y'all funny. Y'all so funny. So no, I would not come at Judy or DaBrat for their process. And also, it's a lesson in us just taking small snippets of information that blogs post, and running with it before hearing the whole story. Now, y'all got Judy out here pulling health screenings and everything else, snippets from the show, just to prove to y'all that she is not a colorist. Nobody should have to do. The price of fame, having to explain your life to everybody when the world is swinging at you. And going back to Snowfall, that type of pressure. It ain't happening to Judy and DaBrat, of course, but the world coming at you, people trying you can push you to some places. We all have to learn how to be nice, right? Because you never know what folks is going through. But somebody feeling like a person is not attractive enough to use their sperm, that's okay. It really is. That is their child. Just prayers that, them genes do what they supposed to do. It's been a whole lot of uncooked mixed babies out here. Look like they didn't stay in the oven long enough. So prayers to Judy and DaBrat. First of all, y'all don't need to be stressing Brat out. You don't. We don't come for pregnant women. We don't do that, dog. Not because folks in their feelings about being ugly. And the only people that really had a problem with it are the people that really have funny looking kids. And I'm not coming for babies. They just look just like you. And you know what you look like. I'm going to get talked about so bad after this episode. I don't mean it, y'all. Sometimes even mothers can tell the truth sometimes. We can be honest about these things. My God. All right. So, and speaking of babies and who you decide, hold up, we're not finished. Y'all done came for, I'm going to try to get through this. Y'all done came for Eboni K. Williams, a journalist, about her thoughts on dating a bus driver. She did an interview with Ayan Vincent with her ass I probably even said her name wrong. I'm not even going to correct it. And it was a conversation about dating a bus driver. And she said she would date somebody that owns a bus, and it turned into this whole thing. So y'all out here having issues with black women having preferences, especially somebody of her status. So folks can't pick out their own baby daddies or sperm donors, and folks can't have preferences in dating. The idea that a woman can have standards, because again, a black woman can have standards, because no man gets talked to like this, no other group of women gets talked to like this. Now me, I'm not picky about your profession. I like to know intentionality, what your plans are, which I think she said, and kind of, are you passionate about it? Because if you're passionate about being a bus driver, you're probably going to end up owning a bus. That's the thing. I think that when you're really passionate about what you're doing, it's going to lead to something. But they burned this woman at the stake, talking about her age and why she's single. We ain't going to never get free. Ever. Now, do I feel like her comment was maybe a little bit classist in her response to all the backlash? A little bit. Sometimes on social media, on these apps, we really just got to say, I don't owe nobody an explanation for my preferences and move on. Because people will never forget what you said, and they're going to always look for an opportunity to throw what you said back in your face. We are in the world of let me wait and see if they fall so I can drag them. This is drag culture. And that's crazy. To where your dating preferences becomes a viral thing when you are clearly accomplished. You clearly have your rights to feel how you feel about who you rock with. I don't know, man. There's a lot going on in the world, but we going to be all right. So I just had to check in about those few things. They was weighing on me. Sort of. Nah, they were definitely weighing on me. This was a lot. I went from binge watching drug dealing to watching y'all come for a queer couple that you really got a problem with anyways, because they've been a queer couple living their absolute best lives. We know how y'all feel about that shit. So coming for a black woman with her dating preferences. We can't win. But y'all be safe out here. Where applicable, wherever applicable. If you got to wear a mask and wash your hands and socially distance, do that. But make sure you remember to clean out your dirty bag. Till next time.
Well, darling, there's only one God.